Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today on this Monday. As you all know, normally on Mondays, we give super thanks to the people. We give thanks to the people who've given super thanks throughout the week, but we're actually going to do that tomorrow. So if you gave super thanks and, you just had a comment or something you wanted me to talk about, I will do that tomorrow. But today, I just wanted to do a quick video, and you see the title is, will we see another three-peat in the modern NBA? And I highly doubt it, but I kind of wanted to just talk about why. First and foremost being, if we're just being honest, overall, relative to players of the past, we have to be honest and know that the current generation of superstars, and not just LeBron, LeBron's the head of it, but not just LeBron, the current generation of superstars, we can even say that society in general is at just a mentally weak place. And even though there are a few players in the modern NBA that if I'm going to watch at all, I would rather watch them. Surprise, Giannis is not one of them. Giannis is not one of them. But I'm really liking Ant-Man. And even though I did a video, talking about how he's not comparable to Michael Jordan, to me. But I will say in this league, he definitely seems to be one of the more competitive. I mean, he always seems to have good energy on the court. And to be honest, I think one of the things that stands out to me is how he talks in post-game interviews. I'm sorry, y'all. We're going to sidetrack for just a second. How he talks in post-game interviews. He seems to sincerely try to answer the question. He seems to be engaged with the reporter or journalist, whoever he's talking to. And to me, that's a big deal. And I'm going to tell you why it's a big deal. Because when I watch LeBron James talk in these post-game interviews, most of the time he looks like he would rather be doing anything else than answering questions. And to me, that's, along the long list of things that I do not like about LeBron James, that is another one. Again, to me, it's just a disrespect for the game. It's a disrespect for the fans. To me, if you're making all this money, then again, to me, you owe it to not only the fans, but the journalists to be engaged while you're there. They show him in the locker room and, he's getting dressed and stuff while he's talking. He's not present. Like, I'm right here. I'm going to answer your questions. Once this is done, then I'll do what I have to do. He's doing everything else while he's answering questions. And, I attribute that to the same kind of behavior as him walking off the court or eating on the bench or any of that stuff. So, yeah, I appreciate, and last but not least, it seems that attitude that LeBron James has, has filtered down through the rest of the Lakers. A lot of them, when I see them answering questions, they have a similar demeanor as LeBron James. So, anyway, that's a side note. But anyway, like I said, I like Anthony Edwards. I like his demeanor on the court. I like his demeanor in post-game interviews. And so far, he seems, I'm excited to see what the future brings for this guy. I like Jokic. Now, I like Jokic. I like watching him play. Now, the jury's still out on whether his personality is a little interesting. When I see him in interviews and stuff, he seems to be very nonchalant in a way that I'm surprised that he's as great of a player as he is. Because he doesn't really seem to, at least from the interviews I've seen, he doesn't seem to really view basketball in the seriousness that, a Michael Jordan, a Larry Bird, or whatnot would have. However, what I do like about Jokic is that, to me, Jokic is direct proof that the whole athleticism thing is overblown. And so I like players like that, like Larry Bird. To me, it's proof that if you're thinking the game, then your athleticism alone will not save you from a player who is really thinking the game and not overthinking the game like LeBron James. But I guess more or less what I'm talking about is good instincts for the game. But having said all that, talking about some of the players that I like, the reason, like I said, that I don't think we're going to see a three-peat is the amount of mental fortitude that it takes to pull off such a thing. And like I said, these modern athletes in general, modern society is just at the most mentally weak place that I think we've seen in our lifetime. When you talk about people like MJ, and when I say MJ, I really mean MJ and the stars of his generation, and even Kobe Bryant. When you talk about people like this, first of all, like I said, to me, they understood that basketball was bigger than themselves. That, they owed a lot to the game versus someone like LeBron James who likes to talk about what he's done for the game. These players often talk about what the game has done for them. So having that kind of mentality to me is key to if you're gonna accomplish a feat like a three-peat. It really has to be something that you take serious and really something that you put above yourself. And then the other thing that I feel like is in the modern era, most of these players, I feel like once they accomplish something, they feel this sense of satisfaction instead of that hunger to do it again and again and again. Like, honestly, a lot of them, and this is probably because of the money, a lot of them, I feel like once they get to the NBA and get that money, they already feel accomplished. It's like, oh, we made it. We made it to the NBA. We got this big check. What more do we need to do? So I feel like a lot of, if not most of the modern NBA players have that kind of feeling. But then even when you take players like, LeBron James, of course, he's the example for everything wrong in the NBA. But even when you take players like LeBron James and a lot of the people who've won championships in the last several years, I would even put Steph Curry in that category. And we got to throw Draymond Green in that category too, because I feel like this is why Draymond acts the way he acts. Because I feel like Draymond feels like, oh, I'm a champion, I'm somebody now, and he's caught up into feeling himself. Even though he's super overrated, he's caught up into feeling himself. And so I think, his focus isn't on actually trying to do it again and again. He doesn't feel like he owes the fans anything. And I think, that's part of the problem. Like I said, he doesn't feel like he owes the fans or the organization or his teammates anything to actually keep it together. I feel like Draymond's just spiraling, and he's somebody who's been put on a pedestal that shouldn't be there. But just as a player, like, Draymond is overrated. And then, he's just been acting like a ridiculous fool as of lately. But like I said, I think it's because, Draymond feels like, oh, I'm a champion now. And, and has this very entitled attitude. Because, again, to me, this is really kind of a general thing throughout the league. I don't know. I feel like once they win, again, it's a satisfaction. Like, the only difference with LeBron James, again, is I feel like he's chasing that praise. So he understands that in order to get the praise that he wants to get, he needs multiple championships. So I think that drives him more than a need to win, more than a need to show his absolute best every second. Because like I said, at that point is understanding that the game is bigger than you. It's understanding that you owe the game, that you owe the fans. And this is something else that, to me, like, players like Kobe and MJ understood, is that you owe the fans, you owe the city. You know, Kobe Bryant was proud to be a Laker. He understood what being a Laker meant in that winning tradition, and he felt like he owed it to the city of Los Angeles to deliver championships. Michael Jordan, you know, felt like he owed it to the city of Chicago to make it a winning franchise. You know, Dennis Rodman said the same thing. You know, even though Dennis Rodman came from a championship team, the Detroit Pistons, or I should say had played for a championship team earlier, because when he came to the Chicago, obviously he wasn't coming directly from the Pistons. But even though he had played for a championship team, you know, when he got to Chicago, Dennis Rodman said this recently. He said, "We did it for the city. You know, we did it for the fans. This is why we went out and played so hard to bring back these championships." So when you're talking about getting the three-peat, that is the ultimate test of how you can push yourself in finding ways to not be satisfied once you've won. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to feel some sort of satisfaction from winning the NBA championship, because that is the ultimate goal of any sport, is to win the championship. So you have to feel some sense of satisfaction. But what separates the players, you know, who've managed to win three-peats is that ability to every year find a reason to be at your absolute best, to play your absolute hardest. You know, again, one of my favorite plays, and we've all seen it, it's on mixtapes, at least one mixtape that I can think of from Michael Jordan, is the game in the Knicks where, you know, MJ hits the shot, gets the steal. I think Xavier McDaniels manages to steal it from MJ, and MJ chases him all the way down the court and gets the strip before he gets the layup. You know, just a example of hustle that I can't remember seeing anything like this in the modern NBA. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. Put it in the comments. If any of you guys can think of a time where you watched the game, and obviously it would have to be a playoff game or championship game, because these players don't really take the regular season that serious at all. But if any of you guys can think of a game in the last 10 or so years that had that kind of intensity behind it, please drop it in the comments. Again, Kobe was the last one, to me, who would play with that sort of intensity. If you can think of any game that you watch, playoffs or finals, you know, in the last 10 years or so that had that kind of intensity, please drop it in the comments. But again, you know, to me, this is the very reason why I do not think that in the modern NBA that we're ever going to see a three-peat. Not for a very long time. Because the amount of mental fortitude that it takes to get up each year after you've already won a championship and say, okay, well, what's going to be my motivating factor? And not only to find that factor, but to feel like you owe it to someone, to yourself, and to others to do that. But I would say especially to others, to feel like you owe it to the game and to the fans to find a way to play at that same hunger. And I think that's really might be what it comes down to, is you have to feel like you need to do that. You have to feel compelled to do that. You have to feel like me doing anything less is a failure. And when I mean anything less, I'm saying, yeah, maybe you don't win a championship, but it shouldn't be for lack of effort. You have to feel like anything less than your absolute best is a failure. It's unacceptable. And I don't think that any of these players feel that kind of thing. They don't feel that sort of responsibility to the fans and to the game of basketball. Because again, the game should be bigger than the players. But at this point, we have switched it so that the players are bigger than the game. Everything about today shows you that the players have become bigger than the game. This is why you fanboys get in my comments and defend your king, because he's bigger than the game to you. Because if he wasn't bigger than the game to you, then a lot of these things that he does wouldn't be acceptable to you. But anyway, this video's went on longer than I had anticipated. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think we will see another three-peat in modern NBA in the next 10 years? In the next 10 to 15 years? I would say hopefully in the next 20 years, the NBA will be in a different place. And I know a lot of you hoping it will happen a lot sooner than that. But if I'm being honest, I do not see the state of society and thus the state of the NBA changing anytime soon. But I hope I'm wrong. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.